This last demonstration is on how to make the slab pot dish or bowl. You can see that it is just one slab that then has some little feet attached to it. So this was the turtle, and this is a leaf, and it's just a flat slab, and then it has some kind of foot or feet on the bottom of it. So this one, you do what you want. So this is complete choice by you. So what you're going to need to do is get a piece of paper, and I have these pre-cut squares of paper, and you're going to draw out the shape that you want to do. You want to pick a simple shape. You don't want to do something really skinny. You want to make something kind of wider and something simple, not with too many things sticking off of it for your shape. The bigger it is, the bigger your bowl will end up being. So I just did this basic leaf shape, or it could be a football shape here that I did. So I need to cut that out, and I've already pre-rolled my slab for this, so I'm ready to go. After I get this cut out, this becomes my pattern piece, and this is what I set down on my clay to trace around. Just like I pre-made the patterns for the other slab projects, this one you make your own. So I set it on there, I hold it down, and just cut around. When you're finished doing this pattern piece, this paper that you made, you do not need to keep anymore. So there it is. Now at this point, after I get this cut out and maybe go work on smoothing here, I'm just going to use a little bit of slip, just a tiny bit. I don't need to slather slip all over everywhere. I'm just using my slip to make my edges nice and smooth all the way around. Okay, at this point I would go in and add textures. I'm going to skip the texture part because you know about that, but I do want you to add textures to this. Okay, the next step is you're going to take a bowl and you're going to use this to set your slab over top and press down. And this is what's going to give your project that bowl shape, that little bit of a concave place where you can set things inside. So I'm pressing that down around. Now be careful when you're pressing down over here, because if you press too hard, it'll get over, it might make a mark from the bowl down there. So right at this point, that's not going to happen. Okay, now I'm ready to add my feet to it. I'm going to show you how to do two different types of feet. So I'm going to set this aside. The one is to make a long skinny rectangle to attach. Now I had used this one before when I did my clay pocket. This is too wide, so you don't want to use this one. When I'm taking my scraps of clay left over, I want to make them kind of long and skinny because I'm going to make a long and skinny rectangle. So I'm going to set these slab rollers on either side, and I'm going to roll this out. And then for my pattern, to know how wide I want that to be, I'm going to use one of the sticks and set it down. And then I'm going to use my knife and cut along one side of the slab board and on the other side of the slab board, and then I'll get a nice thickness for this. Alright, now it's got jagged edges on both ends, so I want to take this and just trim that off. Try to make it straight. Do the same thing on this end. Just trim it off and make it straight so that when it comes together, it's going to match up. Okay, so this is going to get attached on here. Of course, I need to do the scoring and slipping, all of that we've been talking about all along. I want to try to get it in the center of this, but so I know where to score and slip, I'm going to set that on first of all, and then I'm going to draw a light line all the way around. And then when I take it off, I'll know that I need to score on the inside of that circle, because that's right where this rectangular slab will sit. And then of course I need to score all along here, score in between these two, put them together with some slip, put some slip here, set this down, and get it all nice and worked in. Okay? That's one way to make the foot for your project. Now, it's a really good idea that you make sure it's going to sit nice for you. So test it out and make sure it's going to fit. The circle one, adding the circle shouldn't be a problem, but when we add the next kind of feet, that might be a little bit different situation. So I'm just going to not worry too much about this. Leave that like it is. To make the little feet, I'm going to roll out a coil. Now I want to make a coil that's like the thickness of a marker, not the thickness of a pencil. That's way too skinny. So I'm going to take this clay. You don't need a lot. You can do 3 or 4 feet. So I'm rolling it out. Okay, now that's pretty good. That's a nice marker thickness there. If it's a little thicker, it won't hurt anything. And then I want to get a straight edge, and then I'll cut 1 foot, and then use that foot about 1 inch long. I'll use that foot as a measuring tool to make my next one the same length, and then my next one. So I'm doing 3. Like I said, you can do 4 if you want to. Okay, and then I'll be ready to attach these. So what I want to do is set them on here, kind of spread them out into like a triangle. When they're sitting on here, they should look like they're in a triangle. Then I pick each one up and I score on both the foot and on the clay. And then when I add my slip, when I put it on, what I want to do is twist it, wiggle it back and forth until it feels like it's stuck. Okay, and I would do that to each one. Then I would put my name and class on the bottom of this after I get them all attached, and then I would set it on the shelf to dry with the bowl under it. And then when it dries out, then it'll hold its shape like it is. Okay? Now, I haven't said this in any of the other videos, but I cannot stress to you guys how important it is that you follow through with the steps of scoring and slipping, because if you don't, there's a good chance that your pieces will not stay attached. It's really difficult for me when I have a whole bunch of projects that are falling apart and when I have so many projects to do. So you guys need to do your job. That's called having good craftsmanship, is doing a good job of things, putting things together so that they stay together forever.